Alright, today we'll be starting on 3D shapes, so prisms and their surface area. Now what makes a 3D object a prism is the fact that it's a 2D shape that's been thrown into 3D and then stretched until it forms like a tube. It's named after the 2D shape we started with, so square or triangle or whatever that thing is. It doesn't matter what the shape is, the important thing is as you travel up and down this tube, that shape stays the same. We call that the cross section of the shape. Okay, and we'll spend the rest of today looking at the surface area of these prisms. We'll use a triangle as an example, but really in general, when you find the surface area of one of these objects, you just need to add up the area of each of the outside faces and put them all together. In general, for a prism, that involves adding up the area of that base shape twice, because there's two copies of it, one on top, one on the bottom. And then in the middle, there's a whole bunch of rectangles that you got to add up as well, okay? So it's a little bit like perimeter, how you're adding up a whole bunch of things around the outside, but this time it's a 3D object and you're adding up a bunch of areas, not 2D, adding up a bunch of lengths, okay? But it's a similar idea. Okay, so we'll start with a triangle with measurements 3 and 4 and 5. We'll make this a prism whose height is 2. And again, we're looking for the surface area, so we want to isolate each of those faces, get their area, and add them up. Okay, I think we'll begin with the triangles, the top and the bottom of this shape, which means we won't really need that 2 anymore. We'll just go up top and see what the area of just this triangle is. Now the area of a triangle is half times its base times how tall it is. Now you can see that those two measurements are the 3 and the 4. Okay, for just the area of this triangle, we won't need the 5, we'll just need the 3 and the 4. Okay, so its area is half times 3 times 4, which is 6. Okay, alright, so that's for this top triangle, but if we go back to the prism, well, you can see that there are 2 of these triangles, one on top and the one on the bottom, so you're going to multiply that 6 by 2, and that gives you the area of both triangles put together, top and bottom. Okay, and so all we have left is a bunch of rectangles around the outside of the shape there. So we'll start with the rectangle on the left. Its length is 3 along the bottom, we can see, and its height is the height of the prism, which is 2. And so its area will just be 3 times 2. And you can see all the other rectangles have that same height of 2. So if we move across to the front rectangle, its height is still 2, but its length is 4 now, so that means its area is 4 times 2. And now if we move to the one on the right, its length is 5, the height is still 2, so its area is 5 times 2. Okay, at this point I think we've accounted for all of the faces, we've counted all of them. Right, and so all we have to do is add them all together, and so for the rectangles that gives us 24 in total, and so the surface area is where you add the triangles with the rectangles, everything put together, which gives you 36 in the end, whatever unit that is. Okay, so that's how you find the surface area of a prism. You just need to know your areas of the basic shapes, because the top and the bottom could be any of those shapes we've seen, and the middle is a bunch of rectangles. Okay, so that's all. Thanks for watching. See you later.